Let me know, guys, when to start so that we can start.
Hello. Hello. A warm good evening, all. First of all, on behalf of SNAS, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Society of Naval Architecture, for the past 40 years, has been there in the forefront for cultivating innovative and independent thinking among young naval architects by encouraging them to take part in various activities and competitive works. As a part of those to cope up with drastically changing maritime industry, sessions like these can help a lot to keep pace with novel technologies and requirements in the industry. Today, we are very honored to have with us Mr. Deepak Kumar Langa, Assistant Environment Manager at the Great Eastern Shipping Company, to enlighten us with his webinar on the topic EU ETS and its impact on maritime sector.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Uh, I think everyone has come so that we can start now. Right?
Yes, sir. You can start.
Fantastic. So, hi all. My name is Deepak Kumar Linka. I have graduated from Indian Maritime University, Visakhapatnam campus in 2019, and I have been an ex-surveyor in ABS. I've also worked with Bernard Schulte Ship Management as a fleet performance analyst. Currently, I'm working as an assistant environment manager with the Great Eastern Shipping Company. My role is totally varied from the beginning. I started with marine analytics, then I went to do in the operations part where the surveyors, as we all know, guys, surveyors role is in the shipping operations. Then currently I'm doing environmental regulations of our ships, the compliance and the rules and regulations and how our vessels should be compliant in order for environmental regulations and the fittings of any energy saving devices, their analysis, and various types of reporting that we have for our ships in all parts of the world. So currently my role involves in this. So today's topic, I felt that we should go with EU ETS. It's a booming topic actually. It's a regulation that is coming up. As you all know, that shipping as an industry is an totally regulation market. We have a lot of regulations when we talk about shipping. Example of like we have SOLAS, we have MARPOL, we have ballast water management, then we have fire safety protection plan, and a lot of other regulations. So with all these regulations, it becomes very hectic for all the ship owners or all the charters to look after their vessels. And with that, there is another regulation that is coming up is EU ETS, that is European Union Emission Trading Scheme. So I'll talk about it. You guys must be knowing about it. What I'll discuss is I have made a PowerPoint presentation. Whatever the presentation has, uh, a lot of things you guys might know about it because it's in the free internet. However, I will try to discuss what the ship owners or the owners have to do and how it is going to affect our industry as a whole. So I'll just share my screen. I'll share the presentation with you guys. Yeah. Can anyone just confirm that my screen is visible to you guys? Uh,
Yes, it's visible.
yeah. Okay. So you can see this. Just let me the slide show you. Yeah. Uh, okay. So here you can see that we have a base year as 2008, where all the consumption, all the emissions are taken from 2008 as a base year. Then IMO adopted about the initial greenhouse gas emissions from 2018. From 2018 to 23, we saw a lot of changes or a lot of I can say that a lot of regulations that came into place. EXI, CII for existing ships. We had EEDI earlier. We had SIMP also earlier. It is also present now. Apart from this, these are all short-term measures. Some were design measures, some were operational measures. Like CII was an operational measure. It came into effect now. And then we have also a futuristic plan from IMO, where we have to reduce our consumptions by at least 40% till 2030. We have till 70% till 2050, and it goes on. So basically, all of these regulations have one common goal. The common goal is to reduce the carbon emissions. So whatever the rules and regulations that are coming up that are enhancing our design capacity or enhancing our operational capacity, it is based on how we are going to reduce the carbon emissions from our ships. So till 2050, at least 50% reductions of total annual greenhouse emissions needs to be placed. And after that, we have a plan of zero greenhouse gas emissions. Yeah. So before coming to EU ETS, so I want to talk about Fit for 55. So Fit for 55 is an EU's package, or it's a framework for transforming the Green Deal into a reality. So Green Deal, when I say, it's basically a low carbon green economy that we are talking about, where the EU has set forth or established a more sustainable, low carbon economy, where new measures, new legislative proposals span across all the European economy, including shipping. Uh, okay, just let me do this presentation more from the web. So, is it, guys, okay for you now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So, yeah. So, what I was talking about is Fit for 55. So, basically, Fit for 55 is the name of it's a framework, it's a proposed framework for transforming the Green Deal into reality, as I mentioned. So it is basically a legislative proposal that is span across all the sectors of the European economy. And we have included shipping from 2024, giving the owners 3 years of time where we need to adapt and adopt exactly about this UETs, and it is going to be taken place from 2024. So basically, Fit for 55 to be adopted, companies that operate in EU waters or the European Union waters will need to be agile and responsive, as this is a common thing. And this regulation is an addition to what we have earlier in our IMO, that is an MRV. MRV means monitoring, reporting, and verification system, where every vessel needs to pull up their emissions data and they have to put it to IMO every year, which needs to be verified by a third party or the class society, and they are going to verify it. So measures taken in Fit for 55, as I mentioned, this is a carbon pricing. There are rules and targets. So here you see this UETS is one part of the Fit for 55. There is Fuel EU Maritime, the Alternative Fuel Infrastructure or the AFIR or Energy Taxation Directive, the Renewable Energy Directive. So basically, all these are Fit for 55 features, and this is what we are doing is we are in incentivizing greenhouse reductions in the shipping industry. Like whatever the carbon emissions we are doing it, we are providing an allowance or basically a monetary market has taken. I mean, there is a secondary market. There is you can imagine like this. There is a secondary market in a place. You are emitting some carbon and you are purchasing that allowance. So when you purchase that allowance, you get basically an allowance to emit this amount, this ton of carbon. So if you emit more than that, either you have to buy an allowance or you have to face the penalty. That's a simple concept of this UETs. Yeah. So before coming to how does UETS work? Exactly, what is UETS? As I mentioned, it is an emissions trading system. It's a directive to incentivize the shipping industry. It uses the carbon dioxide pricing and revenue redistribution to achieve the aims. It's basically a cap and trade mechanism in which carbon dioxide allowances are given in the market or allocated within the certain restricted level. So this is basically an UETS. So what will be exactly impacted by UETs? So these, like when we read a regulations or a framework, the most easiest way to understand is to ask questions. If you ask questions from the regulations within yourself, then you will get a lot of answers. So basically, if I'll say that what will be impacted by UETs. So basically, it is the greenhouse gas emissions made on voyages between the EU ports more than 5,000 ton GT. Then we have the vessels that are already covered, in the MRV regulations. Those are also governed with UETs, and the carbon dioxide and the greenhouse gas emissions that including carbon dioxide. So how does UETS exactly works? So earlier, the revised ETS proposed that the emissions from the current ETS sector to be reduced by 61% by 2030. So basically, these are only numbers, or these are all statistical calculations of how much percentage we can reduce it till this amount, till this amount, until this year. And this will keep on changing. This is not a hard and fast thing that this is going to stay. This percentage is going to stay. So basically, this would represent, like they said, that it can be reduced till 61% by 2030. So this would represent around 4.2% of annual emissions reduction target. So it, as I mentioned, it expects a 3-year transitional period during which shipping companies will have to surrender allowances every year. Every year, this is going to happen, and this phasing in schedule for surrendering allowances of the verified emissions. This verified emissions because the MRV emissions that are taken place every year. So these are all verified emissions, and that is the percentage is to 20% for 2023, 45 for 24, 70 for 25, and with gradually with coming that is 100%. So basically, this is surrendering the allowances. This is not the emission percentage that they are looking at the carbon emissions percent. This is the surrendering allowances. And in the previous PPT, the previous slide, sorry, you saw that these are all the features. So UETS, as I mentioned, this is there is an energy taxation directive that is used to remove tax exemption from bunkers fuel sold within the EEA from 2023. EEA is European the area that is the EEA, the Europe area, that is from 2023. There's a low rate compared to other sectors to prevent carbon leakage. I'll talk about this carbon leakage as well in my coming slides. And AFI is alternative fuel infrastructure. We are looking at different fuel that are in the market. We have biofuels coming up testings are going on. Even it is being used also. Apart from that, we have set requirement for LNG bunkering infrastructure by 2025, and for minimum electric shore side power, our generator is used. So that is also a major thing. And also, yeah, I'll talk about the EU strategy. But before that, if you guys have any questions, you can stop me in between my when I'm saying, and you can just ask any doubt that you have. You do not have to wait till the end of the PPT. So just to also enhance your understanding about it, just when I mentioned that ETS is an cap and trade mechanism. So cap and trade basically is each year a set number of allowances is made available. They can be freely allocated by all any authority or purchased by the participant. Participants here are the ship owners. So it is used to reduce the carbon emissions to allowable levels, and you can purchase additional allowances as when required, as you feel that if you need to purchase reductions or purchase allowances, you can do that. So what is exactly the strategy behind this EU? So the strategy consists of three consecutive steps. First one is monitoring, reporting, and verifications of carbon dioxide emissions. This is the MRV. This is currently in place. Every ship owners are doing it for their vessels. Then we have greenhouse gas reduction targets for the maritime transport sector. We have this percentage that are defined, and further measures would be including market-based measures in the medium to long term. Market-based measures means the financial measures like this ETS is coming up. So, and this extending to maritime transport by capping maritime transport emissions as a part of ETS cap. We are creating a carbon price signal that should foster the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions in a flexible and cost-effective manner. So this is the strategy of how EU ETS is going to be taken place. Then the next question comes: who will exactly enforce, or who will pay for it? So enforcing is from the EU member states, will be assigned administrative authorities. And once ETS comes into force, the companies will need to submit a standardized emissions monitoring plan. You will have to submit and standardized monitoring emission plan to your authority for each of their ships in a scope within 3 months. Then authorities will have 2 years, yeah, 2 years to approve this plan. From 2024, shipping companies will have to submit their aggregated emissions data to the respective authority at the end of the March each year. The same timeline goes for the MRV as well. And operators who are found to breach the requirements will be subject for an penalty of around 100 euros per metric ton of emission of carbon dioxide. So this is basically the total framework of EU. Yeah. So here you see EUAs. So EUAs are European Union allowances. These are the allowances that are given in the market. For these, the European Union has around given in the secondary market a lot of allowances, which are a type of permit that allows companies covered by EU ETS to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide. And EUAs can be bought and sold in the market at the variable market price depending how much the carbon price is at that moment of time. So that's how EUAs are in the process. So there is a principles of acquiring how we have you will have to first determine your needs. Like you will have to see your the route your vessels are operating. That's a major thing because operational area will promote or dedicate a lot of primary details regarding this. So you'll have to determine your needs, that how much you need. Then you have to research the market. What is the carbon price in UETs, or how much it is, and you have to choose a purchasing method. Purchasing method as in you can buy credits, you can buy carbon credits from the market, you can use it, or you can buy from the secondary market the carbon allowances, and then you can use it accordingly. And this is an regulation, as I mentioned here, it's availability of allowances. There's a period with large amount. The current threshold limit is 833 million of EUAs in circulation. The volume made available through auctions are reduced, and every year this is going to be reduced. and put into a market stability reserve, that is an MSR. So similarly, when there will be a shortage of UAs, more can be released from the MSR which were already reserved to ensure a stable price. Like there should not be a monopoly of prices regarding the carbon, and hence there would be a stable price regarding this. 1 second. Over the time, the total emissions will stay below the use target regardless, though the total amount of U is issued. As of 2022, we have around 1.4 billion of UAs in circulation. The verified emissions for 2021 were 1.3 billion tons of carbon dioxide. Yeah. So how can you purchase these allowances? So basically, you have auctions, you'll have tradings. So auctions are kind of like purchase at a fixed price several times a year by the European exchange on behalf of you. Then you can trade also, can be bought and sold on the secondary market through brokers or online trading platforms. So basically, what you see here is these are all futuristic regulations that have come into place, and we are all going to accept it and how we can deal with it. So these can be like for the trading, this can be traded on various exchanges and over the counter markets also, and the price fluctuates according to supply and demand, same as how the trading like how we trade, the prices vary. You'll have to purchase according to the supply and demand. Yeah, so you can see this picture. These are all the ports. You can find it in the internet as well. These are all the ports basically in the European Union. Yeah. So what is exactly the plan for UETs? So these are all regulations mentioned in the UETs. These are all not new things. These are all mentioned. You can just read it. But what I'm saying is how ship owners are going to be affected and how they can deal with it, and that's what is required for an owner or a charter, whatever the people that are or the party that are getting involved in. So the emissions covered will be 100% of the emissions from the voyages, that is from the intra-EU ports, and there will be 100% of the emissions at berth in EU ports, and 50% of the emissions for extra European Union voyages from to and from the EU port. And it's on phase in thing. In 2025, ships will have to pay 40% of their emissions from 2024. In 26, 70% in 27, 100%, as I mentioned earlier. And it will also include CH4 soot and nitrogen dioxide. If you have like in case of MRV, what we were giving to the third party or to the class for the verification did not include nitrogen dioxide or the CH4 also soot. But from 2024, this with the inclusion of UET, these are going to be added, and this is going to be a major factor for all the ship owners to upgrade their system, because their system at present deals with MRV, and it's a hectic process. It's a very hectic process of dealing of seeing all the carbon emissions, uploading the data, making an API, keeping all the data and uploading in the third party. But now you will also have to include these three parameters as well in your system. So you'll have to upgrade your system. You'll have to be more flexible, help and majorly help the crew, because they are going to report it to the office and then the office to the class. So uh, a simplistic way of dealing with how the ship crew can deal with it, because at present in all over the world, in all the with all the ship owners, the major problem is the crew is not trained to do all these things, because these all regulations are coming up recently. And but our ship crew are really dynamic all over the world. They can adapt, they can they can review, they are really intelligent guys, and they take up this data really easily and report it. So the reporting of correct data is also another problem that we are facing right now. But with time, these are all changing. With digitalization coming place, errors are reducing, and in the coming future we are going to see a better version of this. So this was the plan for UETs. As I mentioned, the enforcement of UETs and payment. This is the same what I have talked earlier. As you can see, EU member states are the designated administrative authorities, and there would be 100 euros per metric ton of emitted carbon dioxide and penalty. Yeah. So here is a graph. You can see there's a supply and demand balance of allowances. From 2013, there is a graph till 2013. You can see the annual net supply and demand. In 2030, the cumulative surplus is going down. It's including, of course, it has included because stationary plus aviation and maritime or our shipping has been added recently. Earlier, all the sectors were already there. The stationary sectors, the cement sectors, the construction sectors, the aviation sectors were already there. And we have added this maritime, and you can see that there is a difference of delta difference of cumulative surplus to cumulative surplus, stationary to cumulative surplus, and maritime is added. And with that also, European Union has, as I mentioned, it had put around 1.4 billion of carbon allowances in the market to reduce this difference. Here you can see there is a change, or there is a these are the euros in the trade that the ships do from North Europe to Far East to North Europe. So these are the prices that were there. So when EU ETS is coming into place, these prices are going to be increased. So the price of European Union allowance here to be around Euro 90s. And the obligation of purchase allowance is considered 100% in the ETS proposal variation of the European Parliament abolishes the phase-in period. So basically, you'll have to purchase, as I mentioned, you have to purchase allowances. The price of the European Union allowances is around Euro 90. So from here, I'll talk about not about the PowerPoint presentation, but how EU ETS is going to affect our shipping industry. So firstly, the EU ETS will require ships operating within European Economic Area, that is an EEA, to monitor and report. Secondly, the inclusion of shipping will create an economic incentive for shipping companies to reduce their carbon footprint. This could lead to an adoption of more energy efficient technology. At present, we have a lot of energy efficient technology. You guys must be knowing about it. The PBCF, the swell fins, etc. As well as more energy efficient technologies in terms of using low carbon fuels such as hydrogen. It's in the testing phase. There are also biofuels. Biofuels are getting like we are using biofuels in our vessels also. Uh, major problem will come in the bunkering issue, but with the current time, bunkering issue is getting solved as well. So thirdly, also UETS will also affect the competitiveness of the shipping industry. So competitiveness, when I say, the companies will able to reduce their emissions or to stay within their allowances, will have a cost advantage over those over those who exceed other like we exceed their allowances and need to purchase additional allowances. So this will increase the competitiveness in the market. As I mentioned, the competitiveness of the shipping industry will be increasing, and it will also encourage other international cooperations on emission reduction measures in the shipping industry. It will encourage them to come out with similar regulations in their areas. So basically, this is for the European Union or the area under Europe. So basically, it's and UETS is one of the largest emission trading schemes in the world. Other countries may choose to adopt similar mechanisms, leading to a more common or a more harmonized way of dealing with carbon emissions. And this is going to build a better, sustainable future for us. So, these are all positives. Like positives, as I mentioned, uh, all these things, how it's going to affect our shipping industry. Uh, but if I say what are the positives, of these trading systems? So this will encourage emission reduction. When I say encourage emission reduction, this would lead to, like I mentioned, this will lead to adoption of more energy efficient technology. It will promote innovation. When I say it will promote innovations, people are going to develop more sophisticated, more simpler, uh, and more easy to use softwares about how to deal with these regulations easily by the people who are going to use it. So they're going to upgrade their system. They're going to see how these regulations can easily be understood and can easily be dealt with. It also provides a regulatory certainty. So when I say regulatory certainty, it means it can help shipping companies for the future by clearing the companies can be informed about their decisions, informed about their investments. This would also improve your environmental reputation. So environmental reputation means like when we have this ISO 14001, we have this ISO 45001, 50001, 2018 for energy management systems. So basically when these you have as a ship owner, it credibles your company as a better company from the others. So in the same way, it will create a regulatory certainty regarding the investments and your operations, and people are going to trust you that your vessels are emitting less and reducing the emissions. So this is an environmental reputation that is going to, and this is an computational sorry, it will be a competitive advantage for the customers or the investors who are rather more concerned about the environmental issues. It will also promote global cooperation. So these are all positives of UETs. So we talked about all the positives. When we see something, we should ask about what are the positives and what are the negatives. Because as a rational individual, we should see the positive and negatives of any regulatory framework that is coming up. As you see, the CIA that has come up, that vessels are doing round voyages, like they're coming to one place and going to the same place, doing a round to have a better CIA rating. So these are all a little loopholes that, of course, that are going to be addressed. So for similarly, how UETS is a problematic, or not a problem but a negative to the shipping industry. First and foremost, it will increase cost. Not all ship owners are rich and they have all the money in their basket. So a small ship owner who is trading in the EU region is going to be affected. The operational cost, the OPEX, is going to be increased. So this is the increased cost, and when and this increased cost is also going to be affected because the carbon prices are not going to be constant. So this is going to change, and this is going to increase their cost. And it also creates an unfair competition, as I believe. Unfair competition, when I say, it's because mm, unfair competition means if your vessels are trading in U areas, you are going to be bound with UETs. But think about the vessels which are not flying within UET, within the European Union. They are not bound within these allowances. So this will create an unfair competition between the companies. Uh, so this could put the EU-based companies at a disadvantage because of their higher operating costs. And of course, this is going to be a complex, and it is going to be an administrative burden of the. It's a complex system. It's going to reduce. Sorry, it is going to increase the work. It will be a time-consuming affair for the smaller companies with limited resources. Yes. Now, when I started my discussion, you must have seen a term called carbon leakage. So I'm going to talk about this carbon leakage because ETS could lead to carbon leakage, which occurs when companies relocate their operations to countries with less stringent emission regulations. If for an example, if you imagine an area where there will be very less stringent emission regulations, so to avoid the costs, the vessels would change their flying area. So this could undermine the effectiveness of the UETs and would lead to an increase in the global emissions. So there could be a risk of carbon leakage because the leakage of the carbon that was going to be reduced in one area is not being done there, but it's going to increase in another area. And there is another negative. There might be a lack of global cooperation. Our shipping industry is a global market. It's not a local market because our ships fly to all over the world. From all over the world, our ships comes to India. From India, it goes to Europe, Australia, USA. Everywhere, all the ships goes for their everyday business. So, without global cooperation, the EU ETS may not be effective in reducing emissions. So, if other countries do not adopt this similar mechanisms, then shipping industry may simply shift emissions to other regions which have very less, reducing them their overall cost. So they will shift to that part of the world. So these are all the negatives that I found out, like that I found uh, to be for this UEDs. So this is all about the framework, the positives, the negatives, and how this is going to be or this how this is shaped till now. So as an individual working with a shipping or ship owning company, what exactly are we going to do to tackle these UETs? So earlier, as I mentioned, we are reporting this monitoring and reporting our emissions in MRB. Now we are going to invest in various upgrading our platforms. Uh, exactly how accurately we can measure the emissions and ensure compliance with all the regulations. So we are going to see a change of that. Then we will need to set a emission reduction target within our company. We are going to set emission reduction target. This is common for all the companies. Like you have to develop a plan for your emission reductions that aligns with the target of UETs. This could, like as I mentioned earlier, investing in your energy saving technologies. You can use biofuels because at the end of the day, we are in a common goal of reducing carbon dioxide. Also, you can start purchasing allowances, or you can start using or having carbon credits for your ships. For from now, then you can use it easily when all this is going to be in charge. So if your emissions is exiting your allowance, you need to purchase additional allowance, and so far that's going to happen also. So, and I mentioned consider the use of carbon credits. So now UETS allows companies to trade carbon credits, which can be used to offset emissions. So you can buy carbon credits. You can take help of third party carbon credits companies are there. You can take their help. You can consider purchasing from your projects of the environmental projects that are going to be affected. That's affecting your ships like in a positive way. That's increasing your efficiency. You can use all those for trading for buying the carbon credits. Second, and next thing is you can engage with your stakeholders. You can engage with your customers, with your investors, to communicate your emission reduction targets and what are your environmental commitments. You can prepare a plan. You can develop a robust system of how to do this and how you can improve your environmental reputation. As I mentioned, provide a competitive advantage within others. So as this is for people who are working, of course, how you deal with people. But if when you are a student and you are seeing all these regulations coming up, and because in ship design we study all the things that are already there in our books. We do not innovate anything. We see how the ship design takes place. What are the steps, the spiral, uh, the scantling plan, etc., etc. But with coming future, the ship owning companies, the class, even the design companies are also changing their way of working. So, as an individual, as a student, how you're going to be one step ahead, because that's how you question yourself when you are when you are in the college. So first thing is you need to stay informed. You need to stay up to date with the latest development and the changes that are taking place in our maritime sector. It's not a big thing. You can just read it when you get time. You can do market analysis. You might hear this as a very fancy term, but it's nothing but using Excel. So you can conduct this analysis of the carbon market, the opportunities, and the risk for the investors. You can see how the analysis is going to affect the supply chain, and how it's going to change the dynamics, or how the price volatility of the carbon is taking place, and what are the policy changes that are taking place all over the world from our maritime sector. You can also monitor your analysis. So one thing you can monitor, you can see the analysis, you can check what are all the steps taken, or the policies that are coming up in the market. So basically, this was about how as an individual you are going to see or deal with all the policy regulations. So when we are seeing, when we are talking about UETS, there is a term called evasive port call. So evasive port call exactly means where a ship stops at a port but does not properly declare its cargo or purpose, which can impose a security risk and increase the potential of illegal activity. So evasive port calls might be a factor in the UETS when they are dealing with, and with stricter regulations, it can be reduced. You can also improve the data sharing, increase the data sharing between the port authorities, the custom officials, and the shipping companies to improve the transparency. You can enhance the inspectional capabilities, or you can use satellite and other technologies to identify potential evasive behavior. This could include also geofencing technology to detect ships when ships deviate, from their planned routes or linger in certain areas. And when I said about that CIA thing of rounding up, so these are all type of evasive port calls in shipping that requires a multi-pronged approach of implementing stricter regulations, collaborating between the stakeholders, monitoring them, and taking proactive steps. So, how UETS is going to tackle it? Because this is a problem. So how UETS is going to tackle it? So use port state control program, that is the PSC, we say port state control program, which aims to ensure compliance with the international regulations, standards of safety, security, and environmental protection. So under this PSC program, ships calling at EU ports are subject to inspections of by the port authorities to verify compliance. So EU has implemented the European Maritime Single Window, the EMSW program, which aims to streamline the administrative procedures under one common window, the ships that enters the EU ports. So all these things are there to specifically target evasive port calls, but it does not specifically see. But EU has implemented a range of measures aimed at improving transparency and reducing illegal activities in the shipping industry. So these are all overall benefits, uh, the positives, the negatives of the shipping industry. Not the shipping industry, but the UETs. So how the this slide that I showed you here is how carbon dioxide cost negligible compared to overall shipping cost. When I mentioned that the OPEX is going to increase when all these regulations are coming up, if you see carbon dioxide cost, transport cost per standard container is 950 euros for a 10-year average. But the carbon dioxide cost per TU is plus of around 8 euros if it is in a semi full scope, and this is an allowance price of €30 per ton is assumed, and the port to port transport costs are based on 10-year and average rate. So if we yeah if we consider a business, one second, yeah so if we consider a business case, for an example, you consider a 20 metric or a 30 metric ton daily consumption for 1 month of sailing days. Uh, this would result with an approximate of annual fuel bill of around 3.7 to 3.24 million dollars. So, assuming a monthly of 400 euros spent per vessel and running on an advanced performance solution, all the shipping companies now have these advanced performance solutions. You only need around 0.2% of bunker savings to compensate for the cost. On an average, we see that 3 to 5% improvement in efficiency after the implementation of the solution. Of the solution in the sense, the performance solutions. So this small changes of changing this optimal speed, this will result in saving around 91K to 155K of US dollars annual net profit savings per vessel. So using this simple techniques of this performance solutions, and I believe that we also had a session earlier with Jabez Dawson sir. So he also mentioned about the decarbonization uh, steps that are taken by all the shipowning companies. So all these small things are going to increase our efficiency, going to help us improving and creating a sustainable future for our shipping industry. And savings per vessel are going to increase by using all the environment, all the technologies that are. Sorry. Uh, Anyone? Any doubt? I think Adityan, do you have any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah. So as I was saying that, so all these regulations that are coming to the market, we are seeing the changes, the dynamics. So accepting is, I think, would really help us seeing all the positive aspect of it, working towards a sustainable future, a sustainable shipping, uh, by changing the way how the shipping industry works, by seeing how it's going to uh, affect or help us in reducing our carbon emissions of our vessel. So this was all about EU ETS. This is a futurist, like a coming regulation. I thought that this topic would really help you guys. So this was all about my presentation about EU ETS and how it's going to impact our maritime sector. And thank you all for your time, for your patience to listen to me. And you can read about all these details in all the in internet. It's a free source. Everything is available there. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me here. It's a really a great pleasure, and I'm honored to be here and give you guys the knowledge. And I really hope that it has helped you in your understanding. The floor is yours. You can ask any questions you feel like. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Having a question answer session. If you have any queries, please feel free to ask.
I think no questions. I hope everybody understood or nobody did.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
So my name is Parvati. I'm a second year student in this department. So my question is that, so the European Commission has presented a legislative proposal to revisit the EU ETS in line with the 2030 climate and energy policy framework, which was agreed by the EU leaders in 2014 October. So why did it come? Am I-
Sorry. I lost you in between after 2014. Can you repeat?
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now.
So my question is that the European Commission has presented a legislative proposal to revise the EU ETS in line with the 2030 climate and energy policy framework agreed by the EU leaders in October 2014.
Yeah.
So why do you think the EU Commission has proposed a revision of EU ETS?
Yeah. So earlier when I was mentioning that they have this statistical analysis of percentage of reduction about how much they're going to reduce. So that was the 61% earlier. But as you mentioned, we have this revision that they have directed to have this. So basically because as I mentioned, it's not a foolproof regulation that has come up to the place. So they must have felt that the percentage of regulations is quite high, and this is going to change. And with coming time, as you see, like in case of around, if I'm not wrong, around 18 May 2022, the Commission present a legislative proposal that amends the MSR decision to auction 20 billion worth of allowances from the market stability reserve. So basically, this is a financial directive where they are going to check how much is their reserves and what will be the price exactly for this. And this is a dynamic aspect. This is going to change according to the market prices. So the parties involved must have felt that the prices or the market reserve was high, and the auction revenue would be made available to the recovery and the resilience facility. So hence they must have put up a directive for a change to the European authority. So I feel that this is the reason for this.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi.
Sir, I am Navani, a second year student of this department. My question is that there are many environmental protocols existing today, such as Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol. But how does the EU ETS differ from these protocol, or is there any extra impact by the EU ETS rather than these protocols?
Yeah. So listen. So these protocols are basically, these are not like the UETS is a trading scheme. It's basically uh, a, a scheme or a cap and trade mechanism where you need to buy and sell carbon allowances. You need to emit till this much emissions, because you have this much of allowances. If you exceed the allowances, you need to buy it or you need to pay the penalty. So it's basically a cap and trade mechanism. It's basically incentivize of greenhouse gas emissions in the market. But in the Kyoto Protocol, as you mentioned, these are all frameworks or convention on climate change, or how they are going to see, or how these are all protocols basically, like how they are going to see the climate change in the coming future. They do not involve in any kind of trading schemes. But ETS as an regulation that has come up with a framework based on trading schemes of carbon allowances. So that's how it is different from those protocols, and this is a trading platform of carbon.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Abrar, and I'm from the fourth year of Department of Technology. So you have you're told about EAU, right? So it's like, as far as understood, it attacks a token for the cap and trade system. Am I right?
Sorry, can you comment? Can you comment?
Is the EAU acts as a token for the cap and trade system?
Yeah, the allowances you need to buy. So you can think it as a virtual token.
So I was wondering that what could be the is in the near future, will there be the stakeholders or parties which is interested because there is a monetary benefits in this, or there could be parties where they hold the EAU and they could change the market, because this is a free market, right? Because where if you don't have EAU, I can give you EAU, and there is an exchange of things. This is like the normal market, free market. So what could be the what should I say, the financial what should that word forecast, should I say, in that sense? I hope the question is clear.
What I understand is, see, there's a concept called reliable trading. So like in the normal market, we have this reliable trading because we do not want any monopoly to be taken place. So when we see that in US the allowances, the emission derivatives, we see the manager of the price risk of carbon emission allowances using the US feature. So basically, uh, Yeah. So basically, there like the EU has given in the market this amount of the allowances, and the owners are going to buy from it. And and they are going to use around 40% or 70% as what's mentioned in the framework. So in the coming future, uh, they are going to see that no, like if you try to buy more allowances, you're going to increase your own operational the cost is going to be increased for your ships, and every financial calculation is done per vessel. So per vessel you are going to increase the cost, and I don't think that no ship owners are going to deem that they're going to purchase a lot of carbon UA allowances, and they're going to use it just because they're going to emit carbon dioxide. Because this is not the only regulation that is there, that you can purchase the carbon allowances. You are free to emit carbon dioxide. There are other regulations of CII, ETS. So you're going to have a better CII rating. For that also, you need to have a better operational measure of your vessel. You're going to use various energy efficient technologies. So all these are interconnected. But if you ask me about the UA allowances in the future, there will be a market reserve. There will be a certain amount that is going to be in the market reserve. That is going to be a regulated carbon price market as well, and that's how purchasing and selling are going to be taken. I hope it clears your doubt that you're asking.
Yes, thank you. One more question is that as the IMO's and the EU's main goal is to decarbonize shipping industry, right? So why do we actually need two entities that's acting separately? Why can't we make it as a whole? Because they
No.
please. Sorry.
Yeah. It's of course it's a separate entity. It's a separate entity, but you're free to have your own legislatures in your own area. So as European Union is a major framework or is a major legislative power in the world, so they have their own regulations or own emissions. For an example, IMO as an prime authority are setting up different types of for an example, environmental regulations in terms of ballast water. Ballast water, they have a set of regulations that is for all the ports all over the world. But when your vessel goes to each, for an example, if it goes to an Australian port, the AMSA has its own ballast water regulation. So as an port authority and as an authority, you have the rights to change not the prime regulation, but you can add your own policies towards to it, so that it has a common goal of reducing it. So every port state authority has this capacity to do it, and in that way, EU has its own authority to do that as well. It aligns with IMO's, and they have also taken IMO's advice, or the people that are involved, the stakeholders are also involved in that. So it's a mutual thing. They have not taken anything out of the box. It's a mutual thing kind of regulations.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Or I think no questions. Yeah. Okay. We have a question.
Before we come to an end, we would like to present a token of gratitude to Mr. Deepakumar Laga for honoring this event and delivering this wonderful talk.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to be here. You guys are fantastic. The questions are really nice, and I hope that I add value to your knowledge. Thank you so much. It was pleasure and lovely being here. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much to the SNAS, to the head of the department, to the faculty advisor, the secretary, Mohammed, who approached me. Thank you so much. Uh, thank you. Thank you all.
I hope you all have enjoyed the webinar. Now I request everyone to kindly fill up the feedback form provided in the chat box. On behalf of SNAS and Department of Ship Technology, I would like to thank Mr. Deepakumar Lenga for sparing his valuable time for us to grace this occasion, but also for enlightening us with his informative talk. My heartfelt thanks to our Honorable HOD, Dr. Satish Babu PK, and the faculty members for their valuable contribution, guidance, and engagement in all our efforts. We owe our special thanks to all the members of DOSTAS for their exceptional commitment to the department. Last but not least, I thank the students for your humble cooperation for making this event a grand success. And always feel free to contact us for feedbacks. It is highly appreciated. Once again, I thank you all for your attention. Now this comes to the end of the session. Thank you.